Be here with you today. I am a human design catalyst and I use human design as well as my intuitive gifts in order to help ambitious women expand in all areas of their life, their business, and their relationships. And so, if you're here today, right, you're learning about your energy type, your strategy, and your authority. So, you're a manifesting generator. Manifesting generators are borderline superheroes. So I'm so excited that you're here with me today. So we're going to be diving into just an overview of how to actually use this, right? You now know that you're a manifesting generator. You have looked at your chart probably and gone, oh my gosh, there's so much inside of it, right? There's all of the things, there's the planets, there's the gates, there's the channels, there's all of the things that we want to grasp and understand. And I love human design for the depth that it brings. But we start, the best place to start is at the beginning. And the beginning is your energy type, your strategy, and your authority. These are your unique ways of moving through the world in a way that feels aligned to you. When you're in alignment with it, it's going to feel good. It's going to feel natural. You're going to be in your element, and you're going to have these extreme, just extremely satisfied way of moving through the world as a generator, as a manifesting generator. And so what we want to know is how to actually utilize this in our lives, right? So that we can start using it right now. Not just information in our heads, but like really start embodying our unique design. And so what I want you to be able to walk away with is this understanding of how am I supposed to feel in my unique aura, in my energy, and what is that energy look like? How do I use it in a moment by moment, day by day basis versus just kind of understanding it up here. So you're a manifesting generator. And so manifesting generators are so cool because you're part manifester, you're also part generator, right? And so the generator really is this, your overarching aura, because you're not a manifester because you have your sacral defined. If you look on your chart, you're going to have the little red square, like right around your navel. It's going to be red. It means it's defined. And this is your energy type, right? You have a sacral definition. So you're a generator. The aura of the generator is open and enveloping, and it's very much magnetic. It absorbs things towards you in order for you to have something to respond to. Before we get to your strategy, which is to respond, I want to speak about the fact that the manifesting generator is also a little bit manifester, right? So your strategy is actually twofold, as is your decision-making process. So we're going to look at the manifesting generator and how the manifesting generator really works. So the manifesting generator is this excessively multifaceted being. You have lots of interests. You are pulled in lots of different directions, like I said, multifaceted and multi-passionate. So the manifesting generator, their journey through life is not linear. It's not A, B, C, D. Little A, little C, little 20, little 15, little D, like you're all over the place, and that is okay because that's how you're meant to be. All over the place can feel a little like she's all over the place. Good. That's what I'm supposed to be, right? You're a manifesting generator, so you're supposed to really have this passion that's lit up and sparked by many different things. That can feel overwhelming when you're like, I have all of these tabs open, right? I've got all of these tabs open and I'm not sure what I should be pursuing or moving on. The beauty of the manifesting generators is once you have responded to something, you are off to the races. You are gone for good. You do not have to check back in. You can just run headlong towards what it is that you desire to create or move in on, right? So that's this beautiful combo of the generator and the manifester, right? You don't have to keep waiting for things to respond to. You can just, you've responded, you're good to go. So the manifester part of you is going to have these pings of ideas and things that you want to create in the world. And the generator part of you is going to give you all of this energy to be able to do it. So that's why I say the manifesting generator really is a superhero. You've got all the energy in the world backing you once you are headed in a direction. So that being said, the manifesting generator tends to pivot very quickly. You'll move very, okay, I'm over here, I'm doing the thing, I'm over here, I'm doing the thing. And the manifesting generator really needs space to make mistakes because you're moving so fast. The manifesting generator moves so quickly that they're like, whoa, I missed something back there. I'll clean that up real quick. You have this like ability to just like just miss stuff because you're moving so fast. So that's okay. And that's a good thing. You're just like, okay, here we go. Manifesting generators really benefit from having a support system. Everybody we all benefit from having a support system, but specifically in keeping things in line as you keep moving. It's like, you go ahead. I'll kind of like check these boxes back here that you missed. You just keep going, girl. Right? So it's like having a support system is really, really powerful, as well as having the space to move as you need to. So the manifesting generator is this extremely potent being. Your aura is open and enveloping because you have that sacral defined. And that sacral, the way I think of the sacral is it's like a solar powered battery. You take that sacral and you put it out in the sun doing what it loves, and it is turned on all day long. There's energy to spare, right? And then you take that sacral and solar powered battery and you put it in a sock drawer in your closet. And that power, that energy is going to drain. So you have this sacral need to be pursuing your bliss. The manifesting generator really is here. You're a few steps ahead of us. You're a Manny and a generator. You are here to show us what's possible by living a life authentically connected to ourselves. And that's a very powerful thing to be. So you have this open and enveloping aura as a manifesting generator. That's your energy type. The way I think about it is the energy type it's like the type of vehicle you're in, right? I'm a generator personally, but you're in a manifesting generator, right? You're a manifesting generator. I'm in a manifesting generator. And then the strategy is really how we're meant to use that energy type, that vehicle, right? You're not taking your Porsche Boxster off-roading, right? Like mudding in the mud. You're taking a Jeep to go do that, right? You're taking a like four-wheeler, like a truck to go out and go do those things, right? But you're not taking your like Porsche off-roading. We need to know how our vehicle is meant to move. So for the manifesting generator, your strategy is wait to respond. And then because you have that manifestor in you is also to inform. So the manifesting generator, that sacral being, you're always in a place of responding. You do not need to have a formal invitation. Hello, manifesting generator. Would you like to go to the party with me tonight? I don't know, the party, right? It doesn't have to be formal. It can be that you see the like party online on Facebook as an event that's local to you and you're like, whoo, I'm into that. I'm getting dressed, I'm gonna go, right? Like you're like, okay, let's move. Response, you have something to respond to. And the way the generator aura works is it brings things into view for you to respond to. When that aura is like open and enveloping and like turned all the way up, and you are like really following your bliss and you're following those sacral nudges, those generator like nudges, more and more things will keep coming into view for you. So waiting to respond doesn't look like just like hanging back and being like, oh, nothing's happened today. But all you're doing is watching like Gilmore Girl reruns and you're like, oh, nothing is coming on. No, Gilmore Girl reruns are 100,000% okay. But by living life, by really being in life and experiencing life, things will come into view for you to respond to. I like to use the example of like you look out the window and it's a beautiful sunny day and you're like, oh, it's so gorgeous. I just want to go on a walk. And you go on a walk and you run into a friend and that friend invites you to an event where you meet your husband. It's like, oh my gosh, had I never gone on that walk, what would have happened? Well, probably would have stayed behind your computer working away, right? And the magic of the generator aura is that when we follow those nudges, these things come into view for us to respond to. As a manifesting generator, you've got that generator aura pulling things into you. And they don't have to make sense. But when we going on a walk isn't necessarily it's not like someone invited us to go on a walk. We just happen to be living life. And in living life, we stumbled into this series of events that led us to our forever partner, right? So I love the manifesting generator because once you're on and you're going, you're gone. You're like, I'm going on the walk, and things will just naturally happen for you very, very effortlessly. So for the generator, the manifesting generator, that generator aura, really, when you are in it and you are aligned, you will feel this deep satisfaction. And I love human design for the physicalness of it. It's a very physical embodiment. And when you feel it, you feel it. Once you get it, you get it. It's like, okay, what you are most likely feeling right now is your not self theme. As a manifesting generator, it's frustration. Ugh. Why are things not working? You're spinning your wheels, you're just not getting anywhere fast, right? And that frustration comes boiling out in this just like almost like you keep hitting roadblocks. But when you are in alignment and you are cruising down the freeway, you're just like, I'm so satisfied. I feel like at peace in my body. And that's the beauty of alignment. And that's the beauty of human design. I love human design for, like I said, that physicalness that it brings us. The sacral, really, that sacral, you have it defined. It is the only center in human design that actually speaks to us. The sacral says, or mm-mm. And we can feel it. It's very guttural. It's like, yes, I want that. Or no, I don't want that. So you know the type of vehicle that you're in, your energy type. You know the way that you're meant to use that vehicle. Your strategy, right, is to wait for things to come into view for you to respond to. Now, how do you decide if you should do the thing that you're responding to or not? Yes or no, right? Should I or should I not do this thing? Well, you have these two beautiful authorities. So I'm going to dive into the easiest one first. But first, I want to go over the manifesting generator way of decision making. It's like a flow chart. The manifesting generator has this two-step, it's like a safety precaution for you. Because once you make a decision and you go for it, you can put your full energy behind it. But manifesting generators often can find themselves putting their full energy behind something that they didn't double check with their safety protocol, and they are like long gone. And then they look back and they're like, that was not right, was it? I took a wrong exit somewhere, didn't I? So for the manifesting generator, something comes into view for you. Let's say you have this idea. You're going to sell socks on Etsy. You're like, I'm going to sell socks on Etsy. This is going to be great. It's going to be fun. I'm going to do this. I love making socks. I'm going to sell socks on Etsy. You have this great idea. Your authority, whether it be sacral or emotional, which I will get to how to use in a moment, will tell you yes or no. You need to check in with your authority. Yes. Do I want to sell socks on Etsy? You're like, yeah, I'm into it. Or no, I don't want to sell socks on Etsy. If the answer is no, stop there. Nothing else to do. But if the answer is yes, then as a manifesting generator, it's really wise to actually go out and kind of start to dabble, taste it, see what it'll feel like, visualize it. What will it actually be like for me to sell socks on Etsy? Maybe make a list of like, what would it actually look like? Because it's not just me like popping on Etsy with my socks. Like there's the back end stuff, and there's the putting the Etsy site together, and then there's the promoting it. Am I going to sell these socks to my parents? Who's my ideal client? Starting to like actually look at like, what is it going to look like for me to have an Etsy store online? Now, you don't need to go deep diving in, freaking yourself out with all of the like hows of how it's all going to work, but just kind of have an overview, like an idea of like, oh, like, am I actually going to enjoy doing this? You're like, all I really enjoy is the making of the socks. I don't really enjoy the like back end, like keeping stock of everything, like bookkeeping side of things. Okay. So do you want to open an Etsy store? Because you could hire someone to do that. And you're like, oh yeah, I'm into that. I really do. I want to open an Etsy store. I'm going to have someone help me with the one thing that I'm really not excited about, but I'm really into the idea of making these socks. I love doing it. And you're really excited. So the first answer is yes, I'm into it. And you start to look at it and you look at how, like, feeling into what's it going to feel like to be doing this. And you're really excited about it. Yes, yes, go. Yes, no, stop, call it off here, right? The way I think about it is like manifesting generators cruising down the freeway. They're like, man, I really want to stop for lunch. And you see this vista point and you're like, this is it. I'm going to stop for lunch. And you don't commit fully to stopping for lunch at this vista point until you pull off. You pull off at the vista point and you're like, oh, it's really trashy. Not really sure. There's like some like garbage stuff hanging out here. It kind of stinks. Like, you don't have to stay there. Keep cruising, right? So if the answer is no, then just, and you checked it out and you're not into it, then don't do it, right? You get back on the freeway. You keep cruising down the freeway and you're like, oh, I love that. This looks good. And then you pull off and you check it out, right? You have that secondary check. This is your safety check. Like, oh, this is beautiful. I love it. It's gorgeous. I'm going to hang out here a while, right? So you have this like natural safety check in order to make sure that the energy that you're putting out and you're putting into what you're responding to essentially is correct and feels good for you. And it, once you put that energy into it, you're long gone, right? And you have put all of your energy into this thing. So you have this like double step in decision making. So if you are a sacral authority, that is very, very simple for you. Do you want to sell socks on Etsy? Uh-huh. I'm into it. Or You're going to have a very guttural response. And like I said, the sacral really does speak to us. So to start practicing with your sacral, actually have someone ask you yes or no questions, or this or that questions. Do you like cheeseburgers or hamburgers? Do you like the beach? Do you like the ocean? Do you like Christmas? Do you like your cousin? Do you like, have these like things that are simple, very easy, right? Do you like hot cocoa? You're like, I like hot cocoa. Do you like tacos? Feel the guttural response. Your physical body will literally respond to something. Yes, or no, I don't want that. Fuck. Do you like beets? Do you like green tea? Do you like coffee? Like, have someone sit and ask you these questions until you physically feel it. Again, it's a physical sensation. We feel it physically in our bodies. Yes, I want this. Yes, I'm moving towards this. Yes, I want it. Or no, I don't want that. Right? So start practicing feeling it in your body. It's also good to note, what does it feel like when you've made a decision that's not in alignment? When your sacral says, and you don't do it, what does it feel like? Because our body physically responds to us. I know for me, I'm a sacral generator, and if I make a decision against my sacral saying yes or no, I get a light anxiety. I get a kind of I feel like I've eaten a brick and my stomach just kind of like is in knots. And I know, for me, I know that that is a physical representation of me being out of alignment. So you may feel that right now. Do you have tension in your shoulders? Do you have like a knot in your stomach? Do you have like GI issues? Do you have like this low-grade anxiety kind of like hanging over you? Because when we start getting in alignment and we start cruising, and then all of a sudden these feelings come up out of nowhere, I get like sick to my stomach. I'm like, where did I make a decision out of alignment? Because it's somewhere. I missed it. It's a very physical feeling. For me, I feel it in my gut. I'm a sacral generator. So as a sacral mani-gen, you may also feel it in your gut. So pay attention. The same thing's going to go if you're an emotional generator or mani-gen, right? You want to pay attention to what it feels like to make decisions in alignment. Does it feel really good? What happens when you make decisions out of alignment? Because that's just as important to be aware of. And then last but certainly not least, if you're an emotional authority, do not have someone come and ask you a whole bunch of yes or no questions, because every yes or no question is going to trigger an emotional wave for you. The emotional wave is where you learn what's in alignment for you or what's not in alignment for you. The sacral mani-gen, it's instantaneous. It's yes or no. It's in the moment. The emotional mani-gen is on this emotional roller coaster. I think of it as a roller coaster. You hop on the roller coaster, you're cruising up, right? Like I'm like, hey, do you want to go to this party with me on Saturday night? And you're like, whoa, you're excited. You like get on, you're like into it. And then like 20 minutes later, you're like, you start to come down. That emotional roller coaster starts to come down, and then you come up, and then you come down, and then you come up, and then you flatline, and you get to this point where you're like, you know what? No, I don't want to go to that party on Saturday night. And you just know. And when you know, you know. It just feels like, nope, I know. One of the keys to being an emotional authority is waiting out the wave. Allowing the up and the down to happen, the up and the down. A lot of emotional authorities want to skirt that down. I don't want to feel down. Your understanding, your knowledge, your yes or no is in the down as much as it is the up of your wave. So you have to ride the wave to get to that kind of flatline point where you're like, okay, I'm feeling good about this decision. That being said, the emotional authority never feels 100% certain about anything. And I'll tell you why. It's because your physical body, remember I said human design is very much about this very physical understanding of ourselves. And the physical body actually remembers the high and the low. Like 20 minutes ago, you were like super stoked about going to this party. So like all of a sudden we're not going. It remembers the high, the high of that emotional wave. It physically is in your body. The emotions are still kind of there. You physically remember being on the roller coaster, but you've come to a flat line. You've made your decision. And so I kind of think of it as like a teeter-totter for the emotional mani-gen, right? You come to this point where you're like, yes, I'm feeling like 85% certain about this decision. You're like, okay, I'm on that teeter-totter. I've made my choice. Or I'm feeling like 85%, 80% certain about not doing that. I'm over here. So it's like paying attention to once you hit that certain threshold of like, yes, I'm in the right place. I'm doing the right thing. My emotions are like chill. Then you make a decision from there. So your decisions are not in the moment. Me asking you if you want to go to a party on Friday night, Friday afternoon is going to be like, ooh, it's not going to feel good for you. So the emotional authority needs time and needs space. You're like, hey, I need a day to make a decision. You might need a couple of days. Like, hey, you want to move across country with me? Like, let's go, road trip. The sacral mani-gen's like, whoa, let's go. The emotional mani-gen's like, I need a minute. I need a couple minutes. I need a day or 3 to like wait out this huge emotional wave that you just triggered in me. So the emotional wave, it's safe. The emotional roller coaster that you're on, it's safe for you to be on. Your physical body is meant to withstand these huge dips and like highs in your emotions. And you're not meant to make decisions in the moment. You need time and space to make your decisions. So what I like to walk my clients through when I work with an emotional authority is for a little while, and you can decide how long you want to, but I say for about a week or 2, track your emotional waves. Just simple, 3 times a day, pay attention to your emotional wave. In the morning, you're like, oh, I'm at like a -4. I'm just kind of like melancholy and sad. And you're like, okay, I'm at a -4. And then at noon, you're like, oh, I'm like a -10. Like I'm really not feeling like I'm just like, oh, in my wave. And then later in the afternoon, you're like, oh, I'm kind of at like a 5. Like, I'm feeling good, right? And then you check it the next day and you're like, I'm like at a +10. I'm feeling real happy. I'm excited. And you can start to see your wave. How long does it take? Because in that knowing is how you start to plan for making decisions that are really aligned for you. Because if you notice, it's like, oh, it takes me 2 full days to really get through my wave and get to a point where it's like, I'm kind of like flat waters. I'm not in this like emotional wave anymore. I'm just kind of flatlined. Takes 2 days. Now you know that it takes you about 2 days to make a decision, right? If it takes you 4 hours, you see the emotional wave. There are different emotional waves. And if you want to know more about your emotional wave, we'd dive into a reading together and you can look at the actual emotional wave that you have. Otherwise, you can look it up. If you search the emotional waves, just Google it, and you'll see the different types of emotional waves inside of your chart. So you may have a wave that takes 4 hours to process through and you're like, oh, made a decision. But you may need to sleep on it a couple days, right? So start to track your wave and see really how long does it take for you to move through your wave. So you now know about your aura, how your energy works, right? The vehicle that you're in, your strategy to respond to what's coming into view for you, and then those 2 authority types. And if you are curious, knowing more about your defined or undefined centers, going deeper into your profile and how to actually use this more inside of your personal life or inside, I also do business readings. Let me know. I would be absolutely honored to read your human design chart for you. And I'm going to make sure that you get access to that inside of the email. If you go back and check the email that this video came in, it'll all be inside of there. And if you desire to learn more about human design, I have a couple really fun master classes out, and I will send you the link for those as well, surrounding manifestation, communication, marketing, all inside of there. And then it's going to be really, really great to hear from you. However, you need to get a hold of me. I am on Facebook and Instagram at Amber Leanne Drake. If you have any questions, feel free, message me, get in touch. I would love to hear from you. So all of that said, goodbye, manifesting generator. I'll talk to you later.